We talked about them beforehand, the level of expectation in Ireland. That's going to rocket even further now, surely.
Yeah, I think it like an incredibly solid performance. I think so many good things to take from it. He seemed a little downbeat, but I think there was probably enough errors littered in there and imperfections for us not to fall in love with ourselves just yet, realising that there's lots more work and there's lots more improvement to happen with the side. But when you've got 5 different try scorers in many different facets of play, to not concede any points against this Italian team, who arguably have one of the best multi-phases in the competition, trying new combinations. I think lots to be very, very happy about, and hopefully a limited injury list as well. They'll be pleased. It's a tricky result or tricky game because so much is expected against Italy, and when you don't deliver on a huge scale, there's always holes to pick. But I think on the whole, pretty pleasing.
Deeply disappointing, though, from an Italian perspective, to not trouble that scoreboard, to be nilled by Ireland, and to make, I think it was 2 visits to the Ireland 22 in the whole match, and those both came in the first 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, actually we are all frustrated because everyone expect another kind of opposition of the Italian team. Definitely today, the scoreboard is hard, but when you see actually what Italy made this afternoon was so poor in all areas. Breakdown was really poor. Ireland have a lot of quick balls and difficult to defend for Italy every time. Set piece was struggling in scrum, no line-out, so actually was too easy for Ireland. So today is hard for Italian point of view, but I think this score is so the gap between these two nations. So it's really hard for me to say because obviously I'm every time looking forward to see an Italian team who compete. But today was no game, no set piece, was difficult to compete.
Yeah, and Ireland 6 tries, 3 either side of the break, a brace from Dan Sheehan. Let's pick our way through the second half tries. Impressive stuff, though.
Yeah, it was, and this one stems from, again, the set piece, that scrum penalty. Ireland kicked to the corner and they set up the maul. Probably from an Italy point of view, one of the big positives from them was their maul defence, except in this, and just see Alexandra Isaacor just slips and it allows the Italian players all go up the side of the Irish maul. And when you give Ireland a little bit of access like that, they're so smart, they're so intelligent, they know where to bring the middle of the maul through, and they're able to spin off it. And they go through Ryan Baird and Caelan Doris and Dan Sheehan, another try from the maul, and 2 today. And Paul O'Connell will be happy to have scored a maul try, but I know that they'll look through the next couple of weeks and go, well, why didn't we get more access with their maul? And it was good Italian defence, like I said, but at the same time Ireland will go, well, how can we be better in that facet?
We can't argue with their choice of player of the match, James Lowe. We were talking about him during the game. He's got a great boot in him, but also as a finisher, is there any better than this?
Yeah, he offers so much in attack and defence. Obviously, his exit plays with that left foot boot, going 60, 70 metres at a time. If I was the Italian defensive coach, I'd be pretty disappointed. Any time a player gets hit 7, 8 metres out, you don't expect them to have the momentum to carry over, but it does show the strength and power of this guy. And Capuozzo has to go lower there. He goes high, and Lowe's able to ride the challenge, and as a result, powers himself over, keeps his momentum going, keeps his leg drive, which is impressive, and then manages to reach out and get a score. And yeah, I think it would be hard to argue with his all-round performance. Very, very clinical. Difficult
viewing for Italy, that, if you were the defensive coach in taking a look at that, that's got to be improved upon, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We talked before for that game, Italy conceded too many tries, and even if against England last week they just conceded 2 tries, the defense works well because I think the Irish attack is much difficult to defend than probably the English one. So today was difficult because the breakdown was a poor area for the Italian team as well. They don't slow the ball down, and so it was so easy for Ireland actually to put some speed in their game. So for next game, especially against France, Italy needs to show another face, especially in defense, and trying to be more aggressive on the tackle, trying to slow down the ball on the breakdown, and the set piece as well must be improved a lot if they want to be competitive.
On the other side of the field, Calvin Nash, with his second try in this Six Nations. Of course, he made his debut last week. You'll be delighted with this one again.
Yeah, he will be. And at this stage, the game's really very much become a bit disjointed. It's loosened up a bit. It's an unbelievable offload by Stuart McCluskey, but it's the composure Ireland have off that It's a bit frantic, the offload, and then Jack Crowley's just able to just do a little ball off the shoulder, and then they just put it away quite simply. Harry Byrne nearly got in the way a little bit at the end, but it's this offload and then just the composure to go. Gibson Park coming round. Again, another missed tackle, like Sergio said, that Italy will be disappointed with. But look, that still takes a bit of finishing. He's had a very, very impressive start to the Six Nations. Jill, like you said, he's been very strong and combative in that area.
Yeah, it's 11 offloads for Ireland today. That's significant. Only 3 last week. And changing the point of contact keeps defences moving. Obviously, you're not able to set that defensive line. You're not able to connect as in threes as all defensive systems want to do. So I thought that was one really strong component to Ireland's game today.
And he must be filled with confidence, Calvin Nash. We were talking, watching the game. You like the look of this one.
I really am excited about him. Mac Hansen has been a huge loss for Ireland, no doubt, because he's really put himself in a position as a guaranteed starter. But for me and Nash, there is this spark when he gets the ball. He runs with such intent. And to be honest with you, he would have been frustrated today that he didn't get more ball, didn't get more access to it. Maybe he needs to go looking a little bit more, but he got his try right at the death.
Good stuff. OK, let's get some more reaction from Dublin. We can hear from the Ireland head coach, Andy Farrell. He's with Gabriel Clark.
Andy, well done. High standards set last week. How did this week compare?
Oh, well, we're happy enough. You know, we got what we wanted out of the game. Obviously, a bonus point win, and keeping them to 0 is very pleasing. And you know, some nice tries out there, some nice performances by individuals, etc. Got a bit clunky in parts, you know, but they're tricky enough to play against. You know, they've changed the way that they play and a little bit more pragmatic. So you've got to find different ways of getting the ball back.
Was one of the key things as well that you showed that invention in attack, a bit like last week at times?
Yeah, I thought we was trying to be too tidy at times. You know, trying to be just playing shape when we brought them down with a bit of individual brilliance at times. You know, we need to back ourselves a little bit more as far as that's concerned, because once we played through the line, you know, we got the ball moving with a quick ball, and then we got dangerous.
Some individuals you've given a chance to. How did Craig Casey do?
Oh, he always does well. I mean, you know, there's a lot of trust there with Craig. I mean, he's been around the squad for quite some time now. Missed out quite a bit on being on the substitute bench, so to get him 70-odd minutes is very pleasing.
And would you agree with James Lowe, player of the match?
I thought he played really well, didn't he? He looked very strong. I think our scrum was man of the match, to be fair. I thought that was a lovely weapon, and I thought we backed up our line-out performance from last week as well.
And having given some players a chance now, how do you evaluate things with 3 games to go and having given this game time to some more players?
Well, it's good they're up and running, and you know, we keep the competition where it should be, but the competition only gets going from here on in.
Well done.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
I have to say, Rory, Andy Farrell, he never gets carried away. His feet firmly planted on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and like he said himself, he'll be happy with aspects of that. But the one thing he said in the middle of it was, you know, we felt they were tidy at times, and he hates tidy. He always used to talk as a defence coach about don't try and be neat and tidy. You know, have your structures, but understand how you go after teams a bit more, and you know, don't just play to a structure. Have the structure to allow you to be yourself and to be the best version of yourself, and that's what he talks a lot about, being the best version of yourself. But look, was very quick to sort of talk about not allowing Italy to score, and Drico talked about their attack being pretty good, Italy. But also that set piece, he'll be really happy with that. The line out the Six Nations has been very good, and it was an area before the game last week we talked about that it could cost Ireland in the Six Nations.
Is it a testament to Andy Farrell that they play with a system, and in a way, Ireland, that they can swap in and out these squad players who all know exactly what's expected of them?
That's what good teams do. It's what you look at the successful teams, the All Blacks for probably a couple of decades. It didn't really seem to matter who the personnel were that came in. There was a role, there was a responsibility, there was a standard to live up to, and I think that consistency piece is what every team craves. It's what the Irish teams in the past that I was involved in lacked, where we had the capacity to have big one-off performances or back it up with a couple of games, but then not over a long period of time. Whereas this team, even in disappointment, even in loss to New Zealand, still good performances, still quality, still finding a way to score tries. when you're put under pressure. And so for me, that's the exciting thing, that there's so many different components to this Irish team. But for me, Simon Easterby and his defensive team is the unsung hero of what this Irish team has done over the last couple of years. Really, really exceptional. Do not concede a lot of points. Do not concede a lot of tries.